Chapter 13. Let's check it out. Anthropologist David Nettle ran an interesting simulation along similar lines to the hawk-dove game. He set up an artificial world where cooperation was necessary for survival, and individuals could choose whom they wished to cooperate with. When he allowed individuals to cooperate only with others who spoke the same dialect, hawks were kept down to a much smaller percentage of the total population than when dialect wasn't a factor. None of this is very surprising. We already know that reciprocity based on proximity is one of the ways cooperation can evolve in a species. Most interestingly, Nettle found that this system of using dialects as societal pressure worked best when they changed rapidly from generation to generation. The simulation mirrored the manner in which these changes occur in life. Historically, there are clear differences in human dialects over only a few generations. Exercises. Number 1. From following and using naturally occurring fires, it is a small step to keeping those fires alight. Australian Aborigines have a long history of using fire to manage their environment, setting light to areas of bush to cook seeds and insects and provoking new growth of edible plants. By so doing, they have transformed their landscape, promoting the growth of the fire-resistant eucalyptus trees that now dominate the Australian bush. To do this, they simply carry slow-burning logs with them as they travel about the bush, lighting fires when they need them. And from keeping fire alight in slow-burning logs, it is only another small step to keeping a fire burning at a permanent camp, and building it up at night to drive away predators. For early hominins, it would at last have been safe to stay permanently on the ground. Number 2. After the killing in World War II ended in 1945, a number of world leaders asked, what should be done to prevent a person like Adolf Hitler coming to power again? One of the answers given was to prevent an international economic collapse, such as the Great Depression, which created the conditions that led to the rise of Hitler. With that idea in mind, it was agreed that trade among nations should be encouraged so that, it was hoped, prosperity would spread and economies would become more interdependent. In 1947, under the sponsorship of the United Nations, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, was signed by about 20 countries. These countries, later joined by about 100 others, conducted a series of negotiations to promote free trade by reducing tariffs and other barriers to trade, such as import quotas. Number 3. A famous paraglider pilot, Bob Drury, is quoted as saying, "We do these things not to escape life, but to prevent life escaping us." That is, people engage in life-threatening activities, not because they have some death wish, but because they experience what it means to be alive when they are dealing with extreme challenges. The danger associated with many extreme sports is not itself the critical motivating factor for these athletes. Rather, it is the challenge of overcoming extraordinary obstacles and difficulties. Danger just happens to be associated with such extreme challenges. Eric Breimer, an expert on what people experience when engaging in extreme sports, sees direct parallels between this experience and those in non-dangerous activities, such as meditation. Number 4. There are a number of psychological factors that would cause someone to believe he or she had influence over a situation in which there was little or none, or to overestimate the amount of influence possessed. One such factor is the motivational bias for individuals to want to see themselves in the most favorable light possible, the so-called self-enhancement bias. In his book, Social Psychology, David Myers has reviewed the extensive literature documenting the tendency of individuals to regard themselves as more intelligent, skilled, ethical, honest, persistent, original, friendly, reliable, attractive, fair-minded, and even better drivers than others. In the negotiations literature, this self-enhancement effect has been shown to lead to overconfidence. For instance, in a situation of final offer arbitration, the individuals involved thought their offer had a 68% chance of winning. This overconfidence often hinders the willingness to make compromises, find integrative solutions, or negotiate rationally.